Hello and welcome back. This is Normal Player Guy. Now we're into the top 10 worst categories on Dokkan Battle for current players global. Let's jump into it. So your first one will be Target Goku. Target Goku is at number 10. Now it's not a terrible category, but it's not the worst category, and most of them are unrunnable. But what they do is actually great. So it's got, for example, the two Hellfighter 17s who just have the Easy A. It does have the STR 13. It does have both the coolers. It does have Broly's, Golden Freezers, Transforming Freezers. Lots of great units, lots of potential. All of them can link fairly well with Metamorphosis, Big Bad Bosses, Thirst for Conquest. You're going to get a lot of use out of them. It's just a shame that most of them are unrunnable except for a select few, and there isn't really that much in the way of top tier LRs for people to get their teeth into. So not a bad team, just it needs a fair bit of work. So the next one now, represented by Kefler, is Rapid Growth. Anyone who's run Rapid Growth will find that it's a glass cannon. Now you can run a very cohesive team or you can run a non-very cohesive team. You'll find that this Kefler as the lead is an absolute waste of space and a waste of time, especially if you can't get the orbs required. You need those 6 type-specific orbs, and there isn't even the changer unless you run the STR hit. So you'll basically end up running a Universe 6 or some other mix and match of the team. Now, it does have the Ultimate Gohans, but you'll mainly be running Universe 6. It does have the hits of the Tech Hit, Easy A, and it does have the World Tournament AGL hit, who also has an Awakening, who's also pretty good. To try and utilize the Gohans, you will be able to trigger Saiyan Lineage in Fierce Battle, but you will struggle to make a sound, secure, robust team. And of course, as I say, it's a glass cannon. There's lots of work to be done in that. It's not even the biggest category going. It's very difficult to form a team, and there's definitely a lot of work to go in there. So, coming now in at number 8, represented by Raditz, is the Low Class Warrior team. So, the Low Class Warrior is mainly Team Bardock. It's got some Turleses, and it's got some Saiyan Saga Gokus with Raditz, of course. The Team Bardock has had an Easy A, which makes it better on the list rather than further up. Between the Bardock team and the Ginyu squad, I think of the Easy A's, the Ginyu squad's had it slightly better. More so as well that they've had the 3 new units that have come out, and they are a 200% lead for Terrifying Conquerors, but also 170% for Ginyu Force as well, which again, or Planetamic Saga, I believe, which again is what you'll run. So this team, it's not bad, but it's more bad than great. So again, you have got like the AGL Turlers who will have his EZA soon. You do have a summonable LR, and that's the Bardock, the physical Bardock, who in his own right is very good. There are 2 free-to-play units that are LRs in there. So you got the Saiyan Saga Goku, who is actually quite good himself, and you've also got the Team Bardock lead that you get from the barber shop. That itself, that we can't even complete, is a bit weird, but that unit itself is terrible. So it's got a lot of potential. You can even overlap some of the Turles movie into straight into it. There's more for the Saiyan Saga to come out. There will be more Team Bardock to come out, but I reckon there'll be more like banners really that might just support low class warriors in general. Altogether, it's more bad than great, but it's not the worst. And of course, as I say, the Ginyu's probably better on that. So coming in at number 7 is Super Saiyan 3, represented here by Goku biting Boo. That's quite a funny image. I like that scene. So of course, Super Saiyan 3 is a very very small team. It's very glass cannony, and half of them are unrunnable. You think that AGL Easy A and the STR Easy A Super Saiyan 3 Gokus, you ain't running them. There's just not a shadow of a doubt. That Super Saiyan 3 AGL Goku was the first Easy A. If he came out now, he'd be looking great, but he isn't. You think about the top ones in there, Transforming Goku, the Tech Super Saiyan 3, Gotenks is in there. I mean, the other lead as well that we've got is the Bardock. So he will have something at some point. You factor in he has a stun chance as well. And when he has his awakening, his ETA awakening, it's going to be quite interesting. But even so, I don't think this will be any higher. This won't really break out the top 10. You do have a great duo with the AGL Trunks and the Int Super Saiyan 3 Gohan from the crossover in Xeno, but alone just on this, it's very difficult to get these. Now, crossover and heroes, as I say, will be able to help out massively, fill out the roster. But I think Super Saiyan 3 is so niche and so small that it's never going to break out, I think, off the worst top 10. But it doesn't mean to say that it's unrunnable, although, as I say, most of the units actually are in there. So now, 6 is that's the Pride Troopers logo. We have Universe 11, probably the smallest category going. In fact, I think it is the smallest category going. So what? The best unit on there is LR Jiren, and the rest not that great. To be fair, the God Topo is a decent support, and he has damage reduction, but that's only if you fall below a certain health threshold. The Int Topo is actually fairly decent and works really well with the Jiren. Passively lowers defense, making LR Jiren's attacks super effective. It also guards, but even still defensively, it's not the greatest going. That team will never ever be a fantastic team, no matter how ridiculous you make the Jirens, no matter how ridiculous you make Topo, even if you make Topo, no, not Topo, Dispo, even if you make Dispo along the lines of UI Goku's, it'll never be a good team. And it's so close to entering the top five. It's so close to entering the top three. It's so small. That saying, the team itself does link really well, and I mean, there is that one unit with them, that free to play unit, the physical one, which is a really good support. It does stack defense, but again, that's only for long events, and you've still got to hide them fairly realistically. So now we're into the worst ones going. Now, of course, we are now starting off with giant category. So the Giants. Wow. Anyone who's ran this team, anyone who's done Super Battle Road, Extreme Super Battle Road, they know what they're in for. So Giants is also a very small team, only a handful of usable units. Of course, the only one who can realistically carry is LR Baby if you have him, or the Tapion lead. The Tapion lead is fantastic and without a doubt the most crucial. However, using in Super Battle Road, you'll find that nobody runs that Tapion, so you're stuck with the guest at level 120, so not the greatest. You will struggle. It's difficult because it's a mix and match of units. Tapion, Cooler, Baby, and Demigra. None of these really link up well. You might get Fierce Battle, but whoop-de-doo, you get Fierce Battle. They need more robust units. Tell you what would actually really help: all the older Bardock members, all those who the original five could probably do with EZAs. Then you could run it. There was buffs with the Great Ape Vegeta, the AGL, the STR Raditz, and the physical Kid Goku. Now, those three are actually fairly decent, especially the Raditz and Vegeta. They work really well together. But just even though they've had them, it's not enough. That makes regular Super Battle Road actually plausible. Extreme Super Battle Road is still really tough. Baby, don't even think about trying to run him into there. Your only hope is that he transforms a lot and you're able to waste down the enemy. Giants is a team that will always struggle unless, as I say, you just purely make it the older team Bardock with their ECAs, and they're absolutely dominant. And then there you go. That could be really good off the bat. So now your next one. GT Bosses. GT Bosses is again very poorly built, very poor in its roster. It's basically the Shadow Dragon Saga. You run this Shadow Dragon, that's it. Don't even think about using LR17. And it's amazing that it's the whole of GT and the bosses, and there's so many units in there. The Hellfighters in there, the Hellfighter 17s are in there. That would make it so much better. One of the red zone units that you face early on is, I can't remember who it is, but it's Blue Alien. If he was in there and was a great support, that'd be fantastic. There needs to be more units, more, say, Metal Rildo units in there. Maybe the Sigma Force needs to be in there as a great support type. You can't just run Shadow Dragons. This LR Super 17, while he might have the GT Boss's leader skill, and he himself is, in his best case scenario, way over 300k defense, he needs to be built around androids as well, and there just isn't any on the Shadow Dragon Saga or GT bosses. It's just him. And it's not and as I say, the Hellfighter 17s would add to that. So all in, terrible design, terrible build, basically non-existent. Perhaps one of the if it wasn't for the top one, this might just be the most pointless category going. Now, number three. Now into the top three. You can probably guess out which ones this is. This is Namek. So Namekians. So the Namekians, too small of a team, very small. It's extremely limited. The only Dokkan that's come out for a while was the Physical Piccolo, who in his own right is fantastic and works even better with the AGL nail. Between them two, you've got a formidable opponent. But you look at the Demon King Piccolos, there's that LR, but again, he's from the World Tournament free to play. And all the other Piccolo, all the other Demon King Piccolos, you'll find them again. The World Tournament grind. And that's a lot of grinding for units that don't do an awful lot. There has been a few easy A's. You got the Tech Lord Slug, who's very good against certain opponents, but you'll find that's a very limited category. You find that there's a Lord Slug in the giant category as well, the physical one. But again, he's not all that great. Namekian struggles too much. There's been next to no buffs. I don't think there's been any buffs at all whatsoever. The fact that again half of them are World Tournament grind units, not even likely. This will always be one of the worst categories, bar none. So now into the second to last. You can probably guess which one this is, and this is Dragon Ball Saga. So unfortunately, Dragon Ball Saga is pretty much what I grew up with when what I was watching when I was growing up, and it's a fantastic show. But it's so underrepresented. I guess you compare it to the big leagues of DBZ and Super and GT. It just isn't cutting the mark. It doesn't even beat Saiyan Saga. So, despite all the fondness, a lot of the units are terrible. There is the free to play unit that you get from Super Battle Road, who can awaken to something reasonable if you do Extreme Super Battle Road. And there's some of the others from the World Tournament. There's some LRs from the World Tournament in there. Altogether, the DB Saga team is just under-supported. They're terrible. The World Tournament units, the leaders, the Kid Goku leader, the Int one is too old by now. There's absolutely no standouts. To go for the free-to-play grind in the World Tournament is pointless, but there is lots of potential. The most recent unit we have for it is the current LR in the World Tournament, and that's LR what's his face with the sword? I can't even remember his name. But yeah, so he's the most recent LR on there. That's going to kick me. I'm going to kick myself when I figure out who he is. But anyway, so that's the most recent LR on there. And again, it's just not runnable. The team needs a lot more buffs. It needs more Kid Gokus. It needs more Bulmas. It needs more actually reasonable to run Yamchas. You can even add a Pawar into there. If those LRs that we have, the Tien and Jiaozu, and we have the Yamcha and Pawar, if they had easy A's, that'd be really good in there. So that would really help to bolster this team. But this team is just absolute rubbish. It's just terrible. It needs so much work. It's just a waste of it. But of course, speaking of how the previous categories has had a World Tournament grind for terrible free-to-play units that have really dropped off, we introduce World Tournament as number one. Introducing World Tournament now as number one. There are some good units in there. The support largely. You think about the Hybrid Saiyan, STR, Super Saiyan Gohan. There's actually a Super Saiyan 2 as well. Both of them are actually fairly decent. There's not a lot of good units in there. You do have the LR Goten and Trunks, but that alone just won't cut it. There's no mega big time units. The roster will always be difficult, and the top three have been left in the dust, left in the past. Now, World Tournament. Now, on when the World Tournament is out, those missions you can do that reset every day to get those Master Medal marks. So you have to use X amount of people from the World Tournament category and various others to, what was it, win 7 times, win once, win thrice, and win 7 times. It's difficult to do that. I think everyone just runs physical Jackie Chun and away he goes. But these three in particular, too far underrated, too far terrible. They're just, I mean, they have no respect and they don't get any buffs. You can awaken all the World Tournament units, but they are better suited to the other categories to really help flush them out. You would need to make a better leader, a full 170% across the board, maybe 4 key 150%. That'd be perhaps more reasonable. There needs to be better LRs. There needs to be a mini festival around World Tournament and DB Saga. There's a lot of overlap in there. Mercenary Tower, that's it. The Mercenary Tower is the recent SDRLR. I knew I'd get there at some point. That kicks me, that one. So yeah, there's a lot of overlap between them, and we need a mini event, much like we do with Heroes, that just celebrates these and really just hammer us. Get like the 6 easy A's and 1 again. Smack us with some of them, some easy A areas, smack us with some of them. Actually make some of the most interesting, unique, standalone units really flush, like the Chi-Chis, the Princess Annins. I have them, but I never use them. Make us use them. So you'll find that they're much better. That's what we need. We need to just have a limited version of it, just like a very small scale celebration. That won't generate a lot of money, but it will really help the game much in the long run. So there we are. That's have it. That is the top 10. Again, in my opinion, but as a general broad idea, that is probably agreeable with a lot of you. You could interchange a few of these. You could put Rapid Growth further up. You could put Universe 11 with the very limited roster, but way further up. You could even bring Giants down if you've had more success with it. Altogether, I think this is a pretty good standing. Right, so I hope you found this video useful, or I hope you found this video entertaining. Until the next time, bye.